What's up, y'all? We are back with another reaction. Let's get right into it.
When the girl's by my side, I feel like I can conquer anything. Y'all make life worth living, giving every breath of every day a purpose. Life gets even better when the kids fall asleep and you tell me to come to the bedroom. Nothing's better than the sound of gagging and headboard slamming.
Michael.
Everyone keeps telling me that marriage is going to ruin a lot of things, but I feel that's only if you let it. Even if we fight, argue, or don't see eye to eye on something, it'll never affect the way I love you. Marriage is something I take seriously and I only want to do once. After almost 10 years, I still stand by the fact that you're my soulmate and it'll never change. After today, the only thing changing is me having to deal with the ring on my finger. You will forever have my heart, and that's a promise till death do we part. P.S. Since you're so good at making decisions like marrying me, you can choose whether tonight's going to end with being a toaster strudel or a Twinkie.
Well,
We'll let you start with that one.
okay. I will say this. I understand what he was trying to do. What he was trying to do.
What do you understand?
He was trying to be funny. That's what he was trying to do. Because we don't know them, right? So I can assume because the way he wrote his vows and the way that his wife at first was looking at him, he's probably a goofy person, right? But then you could start to see the discomfort on her face. Once he, went a step further, and a step further, you can start to see like, okay, she's like,
but they're in front of their parents.
It's not really a joke anymore, right? Yeah, that's what I'm getting there. This is not really a joke anymore. You can see it on her face that she's starting to get embarrassed, right? And this is supposed to be the night of both of their lives, right? Not a night for embarrassment or a night to talk about your personal life in front of your whole family. This is a night, to celebrate, a step into the right direction between you two in front of your family, right? And I think he took it too far to embarrass his wife, and not only just between them two, right? Because this clip went pretty viral, right?
Mm-hmm. He embarrassed.
It's an old clip, so it's gone pretty viral a few times, and he not only embarrassed her in front of his family. At this point, he's embarrassed her in front of millions of people, and he may have not intended for that to happen, but the way he wrote his vows, in my opinion, truthfully, I think was wrong. Whether you're a joking person or not, there's a way that you could have wrote that to still be funny, but not disrespectful and, nasty, right? Because that's something that should be between you and your wife, right? So I don't think it was right for him to, throw that in there, even though honestly, because I'm a man, I know he was trying to be funny, but to me, it was wrong. You embarrassed yourself, you embarrassed your wife, and you did that in front of your family, and now you did that in front of the internet. And it's wrong. She probably felt some type of way, and they probably discussed it, and I think it was wrong. And hopefully he apologized. I don't think that something like this, especially your vows, maybe even if you want to do it, after, y'all start celebrating, but in your vows, I think take that serious, because it's not something to joke about. Your vows is not a joke. You know what I mean? That's something that you're taking a literal vow and a covenant between you, yourself, your wife, or your husband if you're the woman, under God, and that's something that you don't joke about.
That was what I was gonna. Yeah, that was my perspective. I kind of disagree with Malik. I don't find it to be funny, or I don't think he thinks it's funny.
I don't think it was funny. I'm saying I understand where he was trying to come from.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, like, when it comes to your vows, when it comes to marriage, I think that our generation thinks that it's a game. And that's a big problem for me, because like, I understand this is them and their wedding, and maybe she thought it was funny, or maybe that's what they do, as Malik was saying.
Yeah.
But for me, regardless if you're a man, regardless if you're a woman, no matter who you are, when it comes down to making that covenant with God and saying what it is that you pledge to your spouse, I think that you need to take that extremely serious, and you need to be respectful, because not only, yes, the mother and father there, yes, your family, they're probably probably children are there, right? But
children.
regardless of that, God is there and God is watching, and that's what you say in front of God. Like, that's what you talk about your intimate life in front of everybody. And I just think that's so distasteful and disgusting. And so there's comedy, and then there's like
disrespect. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I thought it was disrespectful to his wife.
Yeah, he was trying to be funny, and he made it disrespectful the way he wrote it. That's why I said he could have, because like I said, I could tell the way he wrote that he's probably in real life a goofy person, right? But there's a way that he could have wrote that to not be disrespectful and nasty. You know what I mean? Because that's something he should have taken serious. And like I said, yeah, to me, honestly, there's really nothing to go back and forth.
So what do you think? What do you think are appropriate things to list in your vows? Like, should you be able to talk about sex in your vows?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Yeah, like I think that.
No.
Like for you, if you were, when you decided to write your vows, what were the things that came to your mind? Like what is the main things that you would want to talk about?
The main things that I talked about were,
I'm asking you because this was a man talking to his wife. Yeah,
exactly. So the main things when you're writing your vows is you're supposed to be thinking about, the low points between your wife. And what I mean by low points were the times where y'all were both, maybe struggling. Maybe y'all found each other in college. Thank you for staying with me and being with me through the hard times, when I was struggling in college, the things that will make her feel good. Like I'm glad I was a part of that struggle, not something that's disrespectful, because we all go through struggles. You should be thinking about how y'all helped each other get out of that struggle, how y'all helped each other get to the point you are at now to get to the marriage, the point of why you fell in love with her, the point of when you found her, the point of, how you met her. There's a lot of key points. How you met her, like I said. Other things like, her family. I didn't hear him mention anything about her family at all. He could have thought of some things, her thank you to her mom or her dad or both for bringing her into the world. There's a lot of things he could have pinpointed at besides, sex.
And men, if you're listening to this, that's Malik's perspective. And for me, one of the main things that I think from a woman, what we want to hear is about your love and admiration for us. Like, this is the one day we get to be like the queen of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is us at the peak of our lives. Like, we'll remember this day for the rest of our lives. And the last thing we want to hear about is sex. Or the last thing we want to hear about is like something that's taking away from the fact that this is between me and you. You know what I'm saying? I think that men have to be a little bit more vulnerable when it comes to their women. I think that hard exterior shell, that goofy clown, that nonchalantness, that like rough exterior, this is not the place for that. And to each his own, everybody is different. But for me, and I'm sure a lot of women who have had this happen or don't know how to vocalize it, we really want to see a soft side of y'all on the day that we wed.
Yeah, sure. And I would even say, like, for example, I wouldn't even say, it means soft, I would even just say the sense of you're not a child. You know what I mean? So you don't do childish things. You don't play childish games at your wedding. This is, and like I said, in front of your friends, your family, and in front of your wife.
So why do you think that you wouldn't say soft?
No, I'm saying even if you're not, because all men are not the same, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say even if you're, not vulnerable or you're not, very emotional.
But don't you think all men on the day of their wedding should have a softer, more vulnerable side with the woman?
No, I'm not saying that they're not going to be. What I'm saying is some may express it more than others, mm-hmm. right? So some men may express it in their actions. Some men may express it in, their physical appearance. Some men may express it in their words, right? What I'm saying is that vulnerability is going to be displayed differently depending on the man.
Right. Okay, I get
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So with that being said, what it means is regardless of how you express your emotions with your wife, don't express it like you're 12 years old or you're 16 years old and you're expressing it in front of your high school friends.
Right.
Because this is not your high school friends. You're not having a high school reunion at 16 years old. Y'all pretending to get married. This is a real life thing. So that's what I mean. Like, even if, like I said, you're not that type of person, you can still not be childish and you can take it serious. That's all that I'm saying. No matter where you fall on the spectrum, even if you're on the far left or the far right or in the middle.
One part of it, he was far somewhere.
Or in the middle, everyone needs to take it serious. And I would say the same thing to women. Both parties need to take that wedding day serious. And after, have fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're trying to go ahead and see 1,000 subscribers here pretty soon. And we appreciate y'all, and we will see you guys in the next one.